morning. Make sure that the adjustment is right on the figure 8 there, guys. I got to make sure that everything is going great.
I don't know. Is it the
Awesome.
this
Hold
one?
on. Sharice trying to help me. Yep, this is the right one.
Good morning, guys.
If you guys
Good
can
morning.
hear us, give us a thumbs up. If you can hear us okay, give us a thumbs up. Obviously, we are not in our normal digs.
No, we're at Riverbend Church this morning where we're going to be doing a free workshop this morning called.
Did you just say free?
Yes, a free workshop.
Because you just messed me up.
Yes, it's free.
Listen, let me tell y'all something, y'all. We are adding value to people, and if you don't find yourself, especially if you live in the Hampton Roads area, that would be Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Virginia
Norfolk.
Beach, and Norfolk. I got them all.
Norfolk.
Norfolk. They say that about 15 different ways down here. I don't even understand. But listen, guys, if you are in the Hampton Roads area, the 7 cities is what they call it, and you would like to come over to Suffolk, where we're at Riverbend Church live this morning. People are already tuning in. Hey, Lacey,
hey, good morning,
what's up?
good
Wish
morning.
you guys were in the area because we're getting ready to do a workshop, baby. Single, not satisfied.
Hell,
I'm a parent. Ooh, Jesus. Let me tell you something right now. I always say that marriage is the closest thing to heaven or hell that you'll ever experience on this earth. But
I
parenting
think close.
is a very close second.
For them little jokes,
they will make you want to look. I'm trying to tell y'all know already. Listen, I'm not tripping. Let me put my glasses
minions,
on. Right,
Rugrats,
absolutely. Trying to figure
them.
them out. Listen, guys. For those of you guys who are just jumping in, my name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. We're super excited. And sitting next to me is the lovely light skin with the Conda red lipstick.
Sheri Brooks Jr., author, speaker, relationship, and life balance coach, and it's great to be with you guys this lovely Saturday morning.
Lovely. So listen, babe, I know we have been in this series talking about blended families, guys, and if you're blending a family, do me a favor, guys, put it in the chat. Blending. Put it in the chat. Blending. Y'all ever see that movie? That is funny with your boy Terry Crews.
He's a fool.
He like certified by the government fool. This man is not right. But one of the things that I want to do is tell you guys and help share with you guys 3 tips today on 3 strategies on how can you go ahead and get those jokers to connect. So we're going to go ahead and trail our music down. We got a little music in the background. Shout out to Alan and Crystal coming through. You know, these guys, they will serve you between your toes. I'm telling you, make you feel real good. We got a great team here. This is actually our home church.
Yes.
And so if you guys are looking for a church, this is a great place to come worship on Sunday mornings, 9 and 11, Riverbend. Shout out to Riverbend. Shout out to Pastor Bobby
Hill
and his lovely wife, Carrie. They're away on a sabbatical, and we're excited about the opportunity to be here, guys. But today we're going to get into some content. Candace Smith representing. Good to see you, my sister from the same mister. And the same mother, right? Mm-hmm. I got a little new thing I got working out here. Can y'all see the different angle? All right now, Glenn P. Brooks Jr. is leveling up on his camera shots. I'm telling you right now, that's pretty dope, babe. That's pretty dope right there. Y'all see that? I have no reason why I did that, and I certainly have no reason why I did that like right now because it has no point. But it's cool. No. Listen, we're gonna go back to the regular camera shot. So, babe, let's talk a little bit about today. I want to deal with some tips. You and I started blending our family 20 years ago. And it's funny to me now when you look at the Jada and Wills and the Alicia Keys and all these who are publicly now talking about how they are blending their family, and people are finding it really fascinating. Right. Some people think it's crazy. Some people think it's unrealistic. Mm-hmm. Some people think it's absolutely fantastic, and some people are scratching their head trying to figure out how do they do that?
How do you do that?
How do you do like who does that? And I know that 20 years ago, you and I had just came to a conclusion that if we were going to work, especially coming from failed marriages, times where we both have had our runs,
right?
We were going to have to figure out this blending part,
right? And I think the biggest key was that we realized we had come from broken families. We had already destroyed families, and it took a level of maturity. And I want to say that on the front end, it takes maturity to be able to overcome your fears, your hurts from the relationship, and be able to embrace that other parent and not see them as a threat, not see them as your enemy.
Yeah.
But to realize that you have a common cause, and that's your child.
Absolutely.
And to be able to come together and put all your personal stuff aside and really make the focus the child, it takes maturity.
Right.
To be able to do that. And I have to be honest, when we first got married, I wasn't mature in that area.
Yep.
I had never dealt with anybody that had a child before, even though I had a child. And I had expectations of anybody that I dealt with that if they were going to be in my life, they had to have some form of a relationship with my daughter.
Right.
But I had never done the whole blended thing before. My daughter's father, her biological father, wasn't really in her life for most of her life. And so I never had to really interact with him, or anybody I was with never had to really interact with him. But when we met, you had a child, you had Justin, and your ex-wife, you were very involved in Justin's life. And she was willing to embrace me and accept me. And I understand now, she wanted to know who the heck I was if I'm going to be involved in her son's
100%,
life.
100%.
So she wanted to have a relationship with me so she could get to really know who I was, because I was going to play an integral part in her son's life.
So, guys, really quickly, if you guys have not figured it out, Sheri and I are relationship coaches, and we created an online relationship academy called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully, where we drill down on these kinds of issues all the time.
Right.
It's a group coaching environment where people are able to come through, sit, and engage with us. Each room is an hour long. They all meet on separate nights at separate times. We have a room for couples. We have a room for parents. We have a room for singles who want to get married. I got to put that extra on the end. And then we have a room for both men and women separately, because what we found out is that in order to sustain relationships, you have to be in a community that is designed for that reason.
Right, right.
Oftentimes, especially when it comes to blending, and we're going to be talking at a conference later on in November called The Power of the Covenant. Shout out to Tanya and Gerald Williamson for putting this on from Married to the Ring. And we're going to be there talking about blended family issues. And one of the things that Tanya has often said, as we've been planning this event, by the way, if you want to go, there's still a few slots available I think there'll be registration closes by the end of the month.
End of this month.
So make sure you go to www.thecrcoach.com. Somebody put that in the chat for us, and let us know, or sign up to be able to be a part of that. But babe, I think that the biggest reason why most people lose is that they don't have the right community.
Right.
They don't have the right tribe. They don't have the right group of people that they're hanging out with, engaging and doing life with. Thus, when life hijacks you, you by yourself.
Right. I think oftentimes we try to do relationships by ourselves. We subscribe to the old adage that, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And I think that's to our detriment. When you don't have healthy people that you can share what you're going through, that you can get sound wisdom from, I think that hurts you in your relationships, because you're trying to figure this out on your own. Marriage and parenting both are two of the most important roles you'll ever have in your life. And there's no course, there's no certification, there's no training that you get before you get into these roles, and we got to figure it out. But if you can be around other people that are doing it, are doing it in a healthy way, and are able to, be a community with them and share your challenges and learn from their experiences and be able to grow together, I think it benefits everybody versus you trying to do this solo.
Absolutely. So here's the question, guys. What can you do, or what are you guys doing, or what have you done to help your biological kids get along with your bonus children? Now, we're going to drill down to that. We're going to give you guys 3 specific areas that you may want to focus on that's helped us. We're going to ask you guys, please, if you've never subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button. Definitely turn the notifications on so that you can get notified when we're going to go live, and then when we're uploading other content. But babe, I think that this is a really, really tough question, and it looks different in everybody's home.
Right.
Everybody has a different scenario, and things that work with us may not work with others. So that's why we love collective information, because I'm willing to try whatever I need to try in order to make this work.
Right. No, I'm sitting here laughing to myself. I'm thinking about the Brady Bunch.
Right.
The show.
Right.
And how, when they got married, they came together, 3 boys. He had 3 boys, she had 3 girls. And how, it appeared that, they had their little stuff, but they appeared to pretty much blend together pretty quickly.
Pretty well, yeah. And pretty quickly,
well.
yeah.
But it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, no doubt. That's obviously TV, and what they don't show you is if that was in fact, let's just say that was reality, and what you see is a family that's doing it well, right? You look at, let's modern day it. You look at Will and Jada Pinkett Smith,
Right.
and you say, okay, they seem to be functioning pretty well as a unit with their co-parents and the whole nine. Here's what you don't see. You don't see the work that goes on behind that.
Right.
You don't see many times. I think they say that 1/8 of an iceberg is what you see
Right.
on the
right.
top of the water.
Right, the rest is under
well, the
the
rest
water.
of it is underground.
Or even if you think about a duck when they're swimming on the water, you see them all calm on the top, but their legs are going like
going
this, like
a million
crazy
miles a minute, right?
underneath.
Absolutely.
You don't see that.
And so what we like to do is bring people a little bit into our world of, what that could look like, as well as ask you, how are you guys winning? How are you guys able to do what it is that you do? So please, even if you're catching this by replay, do me a favor, put it in the chat and let us know, give us some ideas. But we're going to give you 3 things that we have found out that works. We actually threw this out on Facebook a couple days ago, and a couple of people chimed in, and so I'm going to pull a couple from there. But we're going to just do 3 today because we don't have a whole lot of time. I don't want to hold you guys here forever. But here's what I want everybody to understand. Blending family is hard. Let's just introduce the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy.
Right.
And I think the minute you begin to think that, oh, well, we got this, we love each other, everybody is good, like we got this. And I'm saying, no, that's not enough.
Right.
You're going to have to do some things. You're going to have some strategies. And so if you guys are ready to write something down, we got 3 quick things we're talking about. For those that may have just jumped in, we're talking about how do you get your biological kids and your bonus children to get along. Now, in our case, full disclosure, our kids were 8 years apart.
Right.
That's inherently tough by itself with 2 biological people in the home.
Right.
Growing up that far apart. And the reason why is obviously the age gap is a generational difference almost.
Right. And so that creates its own set of challenges. But there are some things that even if there's a major age difference that you can do to help bring them together.
Yep.
And I think this first one is very important. So the first one is treat them the same.
Put that in the chat.
Treat them
the same.
And basically what that means, number one, and we are strong proponents, like if you hear us talk, we never use the term step parent or step child. And the reason is because that terminology in of itself, if I identify my child, if I'm out with my bonus child and my child and we're going out and I see somebody I haven't seen in a while and I'm like, oh yeah, this is my daughter and this is my step son, that isolates him automatically.
Off the break.
Because now it's like, so I'm this other thing. I'm
Right.
this.
Right.
Instead of just saying this is my daughter and my son.
Right. Like, what's wrong with that?
Why can't you just say that? Because that is still your son. That's still your daughter, whether
Yep.
you gave birth to them or not. When you become a family, they become your children.
Here's what I know. You feed them long enough, they'll even look like you.
Right, because people always say Justin looks like
Right,
me. I'm
right.
like,
And-
okay.
right, okay, no
And they'll
words.
say
He
that
looks just like,
Shantae
it looks just like you. It's
I was like, okay.
Okay, if you say so. But the point I think that one of the things that I want to underscore there, baby, is that when we talk about treat them the same, we know that all kids are not created equal.
Right.
We're not
that.
saying treat them necessarily equally. But what I am saying is because everybody has their own different set of circumstances.
Right.
But when you start talking about the fact that we do not identify our children as step
children.
or as something other, I think what that does for a child in their psyche, it makes them feel apart.
Right.
Let's just do the math on the biology. The fact of the matter is they're clearly aware that they're not biologically related, right?
But they don't need to be reminded of that.
They don't need to continue to be reminded of that over and over and over again. I don't see where that's a benefit. Now, here's the argument, and I can hear other people saying this. But what if I offend the bonus parent? What if I offend the other parent in calling them my child? What if they're feeling like, oh my God, like that's not your child, that's my baby, that's this, that, and the third. I want you guys, and I want to help speak to that thought for a quick second, Sheri, is that we're not talking about them right now.
Right.
This has nothing to do, making your child feel apart has nothing to do with their other parent.
Right.
Here's the problem. The problem is that because of the fear that you have of what the other one is thinking, doing, or gonna say, or gonna do, it prevents you from being able to move closer to this child. Now you got 2 problems.
Right.
So I'm going to encourage you to isolate the problems. Deal with one at a time. This child is in your house.
Right.
And at this particular point, if they don't feel like they are a part, then what's going to happen is that you're going to have some major division going on.
Right. And another mistake that I often see blended families do is this whole my child.
Yep.
My child.
Yep.
I'm going to take care of my child. You take care of your child.
That's dangerous.
Children hear everything. Please.
And what they don't hear, they perceive.
Hear me.
Yep.
When you guys are all in the other room having a conversation, well, you need to deal with your child. You need to deal with your child. Know that they hear that. And that it comes across in the way that you carry yourself if you're speaking that way.
Right.
Because if you're thinking that way, that there's separation, that that's your child, this is my child, you're going to carry yourself in a way, and they pick up on that.
Yep.
And so that creates division because they like, well, they don't even treat me like, so why am I respect them?
Yep. So I just want you guys to know, number one, we're talking about, for those that may have just jumped in the room, we're talking about how do you effectively blend your family in a way where the biological children and the bonus children can get along. And the first thing that we said is, number one, you have to treat them the same. Excuse me. The minute children pick up on the fact that I'm being treated differently, newsflash, they will act differently. Mm-hmm. Sheri and I constantly joke, especially when the kids were younger. We would say, I would say, see, there go your son.
Right.
The teacher called me about your son today.
Right, and I'd be like, you need to go talk to your daughter.
Y'all hear that?
But in that sense, we're saying it. I'm saying that about him and his bonus daughter. He's saying that to me about my bonus son, not about my daughter. And so it's making the point that that's my son too, or that's his daughter too.
Exactly.
So it's not the other way around.
So if that makes sense to you guys, put "makes sense" in the chat. Number two, and we're going to run along. Guys, listen really carefully. Number two is don't force it. I think so many people, babe, have this idea that they want it to be perfect and they want it to be perfect now. Well, the truth is, A, it's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And B, it certainly is not going to happen right now.
No, it's not going to happen overnight. And this is one thing that I always stress. You have to remember when you were dating, when you were courting, when you were dealing with your spouse before you guys got married, you guys spent time together. You developed a relationship with them. In most cases, people don't develop relationships with the children. Just because you went out to a family picnic with them together, just because y'all may have gone out to dinner together one time or a couple of times, is not building a relationship with that child.
Yep.
Just because you've been in their present does not equate that you have a relationship. That's going to take time
Yep.
to build a relationship with the child. And so you can't come into the home and now automatically, hey, I'm your new mom or I'm your new dad. Number one, you don't replace their other parent.
Right.
They have a mom, they have a dad. You're coming alongside them as a support.
Yep. And that's why we call it a bonus, because you're
the bonus parent.
You're extra sauce. Like you are the topping. You're the cream on the top. Like you are an added value at this point. Does that make sense? You're not that biological child. And I think that when you find yourself forcing this issue, what you're gonna find, guys, is that people, listen, human beings, when they're pushed, inherently they push back.
Right.
So the last thing I want to do is push this relationship on this person. I remember, because of the age difference of our children, us trying to sort of make them get along, if you will, for lack of better terms. And then it dawned on us, listen, let's just be dead real. Add another 5 years to her 8, she's old enough to be his mother, technically.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is that she's further away from him in age than she is closer to him. So the more you force their two worlds that, quite frankly, don't get along or don't mesh together, there's a problem. Here's what's funny. We backed off of them and let them work out their own relationship and let them define what it would be.
Right.
And then it got to the place where Justin had this mad level of respect for his, quote, big sister. And so I remember times where he would just be constantly wanting to be with her. It used to get on her nerves. She used to hide him in the closet, all kinds of. Well, the way that looked is they gonna play hide and go seek. He goes hide in the closet,
she leave him in
and
there.
she just don't
She
go
done
look for him. She done gone
whatever.
downstairs look at TV, and he's still in the
closet.
closet. But I'm telling you guys, I think that the challenge is that is absolutely Incredible. Yes, Cherie, building that relationship is key, is what Candace just said.
Right, and
Absolutely.
Right, and one thing you have to realize when there's an age, even siblings, biological siblings, don't get along sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's normal. There's going to be some sibling rivalry. There's going to be some moments when they don't get along. So just like you have to build a relationship, they have to build a relationship with each other.
Absolutely.
And so you have to allow them time to do that. And it's not going to always be they get along. But what you want to do, you just have to be fair in everything when you're dealing
Absolutely.
with them. Make sure there's fairness. You're not showing favoritism to one over the other.
Yep.
That you're being fair. And you do a lot for, like, if there are age differences. You know, if you have a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old, the 15-year-old's not going to want the 5-year-old around them all the time. That has nothing to do with them being non-biological. That's
human.
Age.
That's age. Guys,
That's
last thing on that point, I got to say this part, babe, before we go on. And that is, oftentimes, guys, when you force children to get along and that kind of age difference is in the room, you're going to force resentment between the two. I remember where we had to stop assuming that Shantae was going to just be able to babysit.
It wasn't babysitting. It's just, you're going to do this.
Right.
We're going out.
We're going out. Watch your brother. Boom, we gone.
And I remember when she got to the point, she was like, at what point
do I have a choice in that?
Do I get to say I don't want to?
And that was like an aha moment.
Huh?
Like, you want to say,
You don't want to watch your brother? What do you mean you don't want to watch your brother?
Now you're offended because you're like, that's what you quote should do. And the challenge is that I think that we forget, baby, that they actually are people. They're little people.
Right, but they have their own lives as they get older.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. So Tiffany says we sure didn't not get along, and now we're so close. Mm-hmm. No, that's absolutely true. Because so today.
Yeah, they're very close.
They are hugely close.
I never saw that coming.
I remember when Justin turned 16. Shantae was in college. Mm-hmm. He was away for the summer, I think, at his grandmother's in Maryland. We were living in Georgia.
We moved to Georgia.
She was away at college in Maryland. Mm-hmm. She left college, which was in the northern part of the state, to come all the way down to the southern part of the state to spend time with him on his 16th birthday. Mm-hmm. And when I look back at that picture, it messes me up because I'm sitting here saying to myself, they look like they actually are friends and like each other. And that was the first time that we had actually, kind of objectively looked at that. And to this day,
he comes to town, he stays with his sister.
He don't stay with us. When he comes, he don't stay with us. Now, before, it may have been a space issue. Now, we ain't got space issues now. He still ain't going to stay with us.
He going to stay with his sister.
He going to go stay, because that's the fun house. That's his big sister. They going to ride, now that they're grown adults.
Fine. They have a relationship.
Yeah. Today, they're 34 and 25. And so, that's a closer 8-year gap than 16 and 8. Right? So, I just want you guys to understand that. Last thing, and then we're going to get out of here, is, and this is something that one of our MAPS members threw up in a chat earlier when I posted on Facebook. She said, teen projects. She would give her kids projects to do as together. A team. Mm-hmm. Whether that's an arts and crafts thing, it's a cooking thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it may even be a chores thing.
Right, you guys accomplish this together.
There's a chore around the house that you assign to two different kids on purpose to be able to get that thing accomplished, but your end game is to create an environment where they get a chance to do work together.
Right. And I think that's great when you create environments for them to be able to come together on their own.
Yeah.
And so where you're not micromanaging them, you're not lording over them, but you just create situations for them to spend time together. Whether it's doing chores, whether it's, hey, you guys go run to the store together for me, whatever it is, little thing. It can be little things, but create opportunities to bring them together. I think that you do have to consider, like, oftentimes what happens, especially people, like, if you have a blended family, and we made this mistake early, and part of it was because of space, especially early when we first started when we first got married, dating and got married.
I'm going to try something really quickly. Go ahead.
When Justin would come and stay with Glenn, when he came down for his weekends, we would have them stay in the same room. Mm-hmm. Now, when we moved and got our own house, when we moved and got the house out 6 months after we got married, they had separate rooms. But in the beginning, and one thing that she, even to this day, will say, he had to stay in the room with me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. She was like, but he was like 5. I didn't want him in my room. I was
Right.
13. And
Right.
so I think there are certain situations you don't want to force them together if you can.
Yeah.
Now, if space is the issue and you don't have any choice, you have to do what you have to do. But I think even in that, you have to then allot them each time to be able to have their own time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if there's a major age. If they're closer to the same age, that's not going to bother them as much.
Yeah, yeah.
But if there's a major age difference, if one's in middle school, one's in elementary, believe me, there's a difference.
Yeah,
there.
and I want to speak to that. A difference is one, a similar age gap is 1, maybe 2 years. Mm-hmm. But when your children start to be more than 3 years apart,
yeah.
The older they get, you had better pay attention to making sure that you implement opportunities for them to have separate lives.
Right, because there's some developmental things that are
There's some developmental things going on, and the truth of the matter is that, there's this natural pulling away that makes that harder when you are forcing them to ride it out. So those teen projects really need to be age appropriate.
Right, and that applies to your biological children.
Absolutely,
too,
absolutely. So guys, we're going to get ready to get out of here today. We are broadcasting live from Riverbend Church here in Suffolk, Virginia. If you are in the Hampton Roads area and this is Saturday, I just thought about somebody seeing this a year from now. And they coming over to Riverbend. so this is Saturday. What's today's date? July the 27th.
2019.
Right. So if you're hearing this in 2020, don't come over here.
Because we're not here.
Because we're not here.
It's not going to be Saturday, July 27th.
Right, absolutely. So listen, guys, I just want to let y'all know we are opening up the doors at 9 o'clock. We're going to have a workshop. A whole bunch of people are registered for this thing. We're super excited. But come on out. We're going to talk about, for single people, baby, there is a challenge when it comes to single folks picking properly, particularly when you have been divorced or you have had a series of long-term relationships. You find it tough to pick properly. We're going to drill down on some things that you need to know in order to pick the right mate. We're going to talk to parents about how to connect to their kids, and we're going to talk to single parents about how to connect to their kids. At the end of the day, if you understand who you are from a personality standpoint, it will make everything so much easier. There are certain people you just won't rock with.
Right.
You just won't deal with them in a relationship kind of a way because you already know off the break there's some things that's not working in that room.
Right, but it'll also help you to better understand your children and their temperaments and their personalities so that you don't kill them.
Yep.
In the process.
Yep,
because
absolutely.
you'll understand who they are and why they are the way that they are because you'll have a better understanding of them.
100%. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. We're going to get up out of here for today. At the end of the day, baby, I like to let everybody know we all need some help. Y'all be good. We'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.